Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in their voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to Ken and Ken, the morning with a side dish of Joe, or actually just drinking some Joe. Play on words there, Joe.
Ew. I really hope you're not drinking some Joe.
No one drinks that Joe. Hey, question for you, because I feel like ranting this morning because of some other stuff. But anywho, let's talk Buffalo Bills for a moment. So the Buffalo Bills.
You couldn't start with a more perfect topic because I got a rant about it too. You go first, buddy.
What the hell is up with leadership in Buffalo? So let me get this straight. You have McDermott, really good head coach, winning record, respected in the locker room. Players love him. They lose a playoff game that it wasn't the fault of coaching. I mean, literally the quarterback got up there and said, look it, man, in years past, I had to sit on the bench and watch my defense screw up my playoff win. This year, it was legit me. I'm the reason we lost the game because I played poorly. I made bad decisions. I didn't protect the ball. This was my fault. Bill's reaction. Fire the head coach. Take their GM, who has missed on 51 of 53 draft picks in his career, and promote him. What the hell, Buffalo?
Hold on. It gets even better. Even better. The major talk right now that I'm hearing for their next head coach is either going to be Joe Brady or DeBall. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you trying to set your franchise back 5 to 10 years?
Yes. Buffalo is definitely trying to set themselves back 5 to 10 years, maybe even a century. They're that fucking stupid. Bills Mafia, how the hell are you standing up for this shit?
Oh, okay.
Seriously, you want to talk about failing up? Bean has missed on 51 of 53 draft picks. He has failed to get a receiver for Josh Allen. He has failed to fix the defense. He has failed to go out and sign any players that could be possibly useful for this team. He lets talent leave the building consistently. The only thing he's done is retain Josh Allen because he knows if he doesn't, the mob would be outside his front door with pitchforks.
And the best part is he can't even claim Josh Allen. Yeah, he might be the one. He might have been the one to pick him and all that great shit. But you know what? Josh Allen was a massive developmental prospect when he came in. He absolutely sucked his first couple of years until
Allen the first 2 years.
Until McDermott helped develop him. Now, granted, DeBall did have help in developing him too. But we saw what happens when he has full control of a franchise. Look what the hell he just did to the New York Giants.
Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and push back on that a little bit because the Giants are actually, I think they're an ascending team. Like, I'm not going to say that that's all Daboll, right? But there's been more than enough criticism of Joe Sheen, the GM or whatever in New York. Somebody was making some good decisions over there. I'm not saying it was Daboll. I don't know. But
Sheen.
That's what I'm saying. Joe Sheen has had plenty of criticism, but there's like, I look at the New York Giants as a team on the rise. They're an ascending team.
But it was Joe Sheen drafting those players and then Dable refusing to play the quarterback they drafted.
So,
And then
like
it
I
was
said,
Dable. Look, I don't think Dable's a bad offensive coach, right? He just wasn't a good head coach in his first run, and that's fine. It happens to a lot of guys who are good OCs and DCs. Their first head coaching gig doesn't always go so great. And he's going to be another one of those guys. That's fine. Dable's not trash. However, you have McDermott, who has been nothing short of great for you in Buffalo, and your GM fires him. And when they say, yeah, but dude, you've missed on 51 of 53 picks. You failed to sign any key free agents. You failed to improve this team at the trade deadline yet again. And your reward is, after we fire our very highly successful head coach, we're going to promote you. What?
I'm not defending Buffalo's actions. I'm just simply saying that the New York Giants are actually a team that I feel is an ascending team. And just to be fair, like if you have a head coach who draft a young quarterback, and the young quarterback comes out and sucks, they blame the coach for not developing him, right?
Yeah, he did.
The coach gets a lot of blame. But if the quarterback comes out and plays good, should we not also give him credit then? Like,
we should, but we don't. Like everything else in life.
So Jackson Dart, in my opinion, had a pretty decent rookie season, right? Like, how much does Dable get any credit for that? Like,
He gets a little bit.
Yeah, I will give him credit for quarterbacks because he seems to, when he clicks with one, let me phrase it that way. When he clicks with a quarterback, they seem to get on the same page. My issue with him is all the stuff we heard about from the Giants organization, how he was damn near impossible to be around. Not just player-wise, even other coaches were constantly having issues with this guy.
Look at all the defensive talent New York had, and they were terrible. And you're like, look at that talent. You're like, dude, like, I'd love to have some of those guys on my roster. We'd be beasts. And you look at the roster they had, and look at it's like Eberflus in Chicago. Eberflus had a great DC, but he had terrible OCs. He could never hire a good DC. Why? Maybe because of what Ken said? I don't know, but it makes no sense, though, this whole Buffalo thing with McDermott. I've been trying to wrap my head around it for a couple of days now since it's happened, and I'm like, it still makes no sense. And look at
to me,
McDermott is not going to just go be the Packers DC because that's not what McDermott does. He's going to get a head coach.
He was a DC beforehand.
He's going to be a head coach.
Well, that's what I'm going to assume. But it's more Domino's fault. It makes it at least more in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, if he can't get a job as the head coach, he'll take a DC gig. But like, okay, let me put you this way with some of these guys for whatever team you're watching these guys interview for. If they're a good head coach like a McDermott, and you see them interviewing for head coaching jobs and coordinator jobs, the coordinator jobs are plan B. If none of the head coaching jobs work, and then they're going to be very selective even with that. Would Green Bay be a destination as a defensive coordinator? Well, yes and no. Yes, because they have a great freaking base to work with. They have a lot of talent you can possibly work with there. They've a pretty good defense under half, right? And if you run the same scheme, same base scheme, yeah, great place to go. But if you run the other side of that scheme,
that's why I don't
want to go there.
Yeah, I don't even want to look at those coaches.
Right. So he ran what? It was a 3-4-3, right?
Yep.
So if you're a 3-4 guy, you don't want that job because now you're changing the scheme, and that's I mean, you could look at you're confident yourself. Oh, I could make it better with my 3-4. And he did the 4-3. No. It's a headache. You don't want it.
I was gonna say if this was 4 or 5 years down the line, sure we could move to the 3-4. But we literally just 2 years ago switched from the 3-4 to the 4-3. I don't want to put the roster in turmoil again.
Is McDermott a 4-3 or is he a 3-4? I'm not sure.
He's a 4-3.
He's a 4-3. So yeah, I mean that might be appealing if he can't get a head coaching gig. But I think he'd rather be the head coach in Arizona right now than the DC of any team, no matter how good they are. So McDermott, in fact, if I'm McDermott, I'm telling you where I think he ends up. Joe, welcome to your new head coach, Sean McDermott. And oh, by the way, he was probably going to bring a pretty good OC with him because he tends to have decent OCs for the most part. Even his OC last year, who wasn't great, was for what he had, did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would be upset about it, but I don't think he has the inside track. I think from what the Raiders, people inside the Raiders building are saying, the inside track is Clint Kubiak and Davis Webb. Like those two are
That's
the two people that
what
they
I've been
really
hearing
are.
too.
They really are like.
It's so new that give us some couple days for that news to start to filter, though, man. Because the stuff you're getting from the inside isn't like the flash to bang on that's probably 24 to 48 hours for that stuff to make it the way to your subreddit. Unless the guys from the front office in the building are actually on the subreddit posting it live, which I highly doubt.
You do have some leakers in those subreddits.
Yeah, but I bet there's a pretty good delay there, from when the head shed
actually,
starts to when the staffers start hearing about it to when it gets on Reddit. You know what I mean?
So the Devontae Adams trade from Green Bay was actually leaked on the Raiders subreddit because there was a guy who actually he knew like somebody that was close to Devontae and got the news and broke it like 3 days before the trade happened. But I didn't read that. I didn't read that on the subreddit though. I actually read that Hondo Carpenter. He's the Sports Illustrated. He's the Sports Illustrated Raiders correspondent, and him and Vincent Bonsignor. They're both like the Raiders media guys. Like, well, they're not the Raiders media guys, but they're the media guys that cover the Raiders. They both seem to think that Davis Webb and Clint Kubiak are have the inside track as far as the Raiders job because they feel that the Raiders want a young offensive mind to pair with Mendoza.
Yeah, I'm hearing a bunch about Davis Webb to the Raiders.
That's the direction I hope we go too.
I'm not discounting it, but I'm saying from the GM to ownership discussion between the two of them to filtering down might take a little bit, right? Because we don't know. That's also the trade thing is a completely different scenario, right? We're talking about McDermott was just fired. If the GM and the president of football operations and the owner, the three of them are talking, oh, wait a minute, this may change things. It may take a minute for that kind of discussion to filter down through the staff. Because trust me, being in the head shed myself militarily, what we talk about in the head shed doesn't necessarily filter down even to our primary staff sometimes for a day or two, or they don't even catch wind of it for a day or two. It depends on I'm not saying I'm just saying you give it a day or two and watch. We'll probably start hearing some McDermott to the Raiders talk. We'll surface. There'll be some rumor posted somewhere about it that someone heard something because dude, if you're the Raiders, of course you should talk about it. You should be like, he's a good head coach. They'd be stupid not to, and he's a good defensive coach, which they might actually be looking for a little bit because if he gets a good offensive coordinator to go like a Kingsbury or someone like that, it's like, oh, that might be a good scenario for the Raiders, right? But nonetheless, Buffalo, what the hell are you thinking, man? And what makes the whole situation worse, like, okay, I could get it if you say, well, look, you failed to get to the Super Bowl in these X amount of years. Every year it's a different sob story, whatever, Mahomes, or whatever. Okay, fine. But then to promote your GM who's failed you miserably and promote him to president of football operations, thinking, well, maybe he'll do a better job there because he sucked as a GM. It makes, I tried to make sense of it and go okay, why would they do that? Okay, well, maybe he's got a good business mind. He just doesn't have a good talent mind. Maybe the guy understands the football, how to run an organization, structurally, right? Okay, here, dealing with contractors. Maybe he had a big piece in getting the new Highmark built, and he was really good with that. And that's why they did Kevin Warren for the Bears. He does nothing with the player personnel side of the house. He leaves that to Ryan Poles. He handles more of the business stuff. Yeah, Ryan Poles does actually answer to him, and he does give a little bit of input, but he'll say, look, my forte is more of dealing with the state, dealing with the government, dealing with the things that need to happen to get the stadium done, to get contractors for food services, the parking lots, for the tailgating, blah, 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 all this other stuff. I leave the player personnel piece to my subordinate whose job it is. Okay, Could that be the situation with Bean? Like he's really good with the numbers and all this other crap, and he just sucks at the personnel piece and getting personnel. Like that's the only way I could like try to justify it. I mean, I was reaching to justify this promotion, but the guy failed. How often in life do you fail at your job so miserably and get promoted? Well, I guess in the NFL, if your name is Bean and you're a shitty GM.
It's the Homer Simpson effect of failing upwards.
Yeah, like it makes perfect sense in that context. If you like, if he has some skills that are translatable to their overall operations, but his glaring weakness is just happens to be where you have him, then it makes sense in some ways to promote him so that you can get somebody in there who actually does know what they're doing with player personnel.
That's the only way I could justify it. And what's sad is you fired a very successful, very well-liked in the locker room head coach who's had tons and tons of success for you. It's like getting rid of your best salesman, promoting the guy who's late every day and hasn't done shit for you, and say now we gotta go find another salesman because we don't have one, even though you had one of the best salesmen in the country in his profession, and you just kicked them to the curb. And you're like, well, let's bring back a guy who just got fired for taking a playoff team, making them a non-playoff team.
Yeah.
And don't forget that he was also a part of giving fucking Danny Dimes there that major contract that cost them McKinney and Saquon.
Oh, Buffalo, man. I try to feel bad for you, or not feel bad for you, but I try to like honestly, I've always felt bad for Buffalo, right? 4 Super Bowls in a row. They just can never seem to win. There's always something every time they're there. It's like that insurance commercial with the guy with the dollar. Oh, almost got it. That's Buffalo trying to grab the dollar bill and the guys, take it.
And the word,
then they do shit like this. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel bad for them anymore.
And the worst part is their playoff gaffes. It hasn't even been the same thing over and over. It's they're finding different ways to give the playoff games away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this was a unique game for them to lose because Allen actually said, "Look, man," as he cried at the podium, "this one was squarely on me. I, Josh Allen, screwed this up. No one else. It was me. My poor decisions, my poor play. I should have done better. Everyone else did everything they were supposed to do. I fucked it up." And the reaction by ownership in Buffalo is fire the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And I will actually, as a part of that, like I wanted to point out that I don't think there's any way that you could blame Buffalo's defense in that game. Like Buffalo's defense had how many 3-and-outs? They forced how many 3-and-outs after those turnovers? That game should have been 30 points, dude. It should have been a 30-point spread with all those turnovers.
Some of the other losses, like some of them were controversial with bad officiating calls. Some of them were just Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. Is like, you played it perfect, but you know what? So did he, and they made the play. It's not that your guys were bad. It's just they made phenomenal plays, and that happens in sport, right? So you couldn't even necessarily blame them for some of the other losses. Because, like, dude, like we did everything right, and they still beat us. I mean, it happens, right? You can play the most perfect defense. In fact, you could play the perfect defense for the offensive play and still lose. It happens because guys can make plays. They can make.
And then remember that 4th and 1 last year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got screwed on the 4th and 1 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not like that's why I don't get about this Buffalo situation. And look, we're not done with coaches. Oh no, there still might be at least one more opening happening here, guys. I don't know if you've heard this rumor. Heard this one last night on the Driving to the Top show. The rumor out there is that if the Rams win this Super Bowl this year, McVay's going to retire, which I don't believe. He's very young. But there's a rumor circulating now that if McVay wins the Super Bowl with the Rams, he's just going to straight up retire, which I don't get, but that's the rumor.
I haven't heard that at all. Now I've heard Stafford might retire.
Right.
But nothing about McVay whatsoever.
I know that one doesn't make as much sense to me, but It's unreal. I'm sorry. This year's coaching carousel. You know, it's funny, guys. We were saying a couple weeks ago. This year's coaching carousel, like we didn't see it as being that. You know, like, okay, there'll be like 3 or 4 teams. Like there were a lot of teams we didn't think we were going to fire their coaches that did. Put it that way. None of us had Buffalo firing McDermott on our bingo card. Most of us thought Stefanski would be pretty safe. We didn't think that both Harbaugh and Tomlinson would be gone. They are. The only coach in the AFC North that kept their job is old boy in Cincinnati.
And that's the one that I figured would be on the hot seat the most.
And let me get to this because Bill, I love you, man. So look at the Chargers got a new offensive coordinator yesterday. McDaniels is now the offensive coordinator with Harbaugh there. What a coaching combination that's gonna be.
But for offensive coordinator, we still have Stanovich on the books as our offensive coordinator. But for defensive coordinator, shit, I'm hearing Raheem Morris brought up a lot. The old Cardinals head coach there.
Gruden?
No, not Gruden. I believe me, I wish we could get Gruden.
Who, Gannon?
Gannon, that's what it is.
Gannon.
Yeah. And then the Vikings defensive backs coach.
Yeah, you know what though? Like I'm sorry, but like going to Bill's thing, why would the Packers hire an offensive coordinator like Mike Kafka when you've got? I mean, look, if you're doing that, that's a vote of no confidence for the coach you just extend because you're telling them that we don't trust your offense anymore. Then why do you extend them?
What part of that could be is there are rumors that Stanovich could be demoted back down to offensive line and us fire Butkus because
he doesn't do anything as the offensive coordinator now. It's all the head coach. I mean, look, come on, that's like saying Ben Johnson's going to fire his OC and bring in a new one. Dude, he's not the OC. He's an OC in name only. The head coach is doing it.
Yes, but they still do a shit ton of the practice in that.
Yeah, they do exactly what the head coach tells them. Here's what you're going to do at practice today with these guys. Okay. I mean, you're not going to go out and get a guy like Kafka to just be your minion. Like, Kafka doesn't want to go be your minion. He wants to be his own OC somewhere for a defensive-minded head coach where he can make a name for himself to get a head coaching position.
Shit,
like, it'd be a demotion for for Mike Kafka to come to like Chicago or Green Bay would be a demotion. It really would.
But I also wonder too, is this the way to kind of get LaFleur out of the offense a bit and let somebody else call the plays and let him be the CEO type of head coach?
But once again though, if you do that, you're kind of saying it's a confidence loss. We don't have confidence in your offense anymore. Even though we just extended you. We saw this would happen. That happened. We talked about this yesterday. Bieniemy is now the OC. Nagy's out as he searches for a head coaching gig. And you know what? Good on Bieniemy, man. I liked him as a running backs coach in Chicago. I mean, you saw what Monangai did this year as a 7th round pick. Now, part of that is maybe Monangai being a Rutgers running back. But I mean, like, dude, like Bieniemy, good job in Chicago this year. Yeah, he deserves it. But I don't see the Packers getting a new OC right now. They're too busy looking for what they really need, and that's a DC. Now, look, if you hire your DC and have some time on the clock and think you can do something better at OC where you don't make LaFleur look like a lame duck head coach that you just extended, yeah, maybe you hire a guy for administratively purposed reasons, but you're not hiring a guy who wants to design his own offense when you've got your offensive guru there. I mean, that's like bringing Kafka into Chicago to be your, Ben Johnson's OC. Like, why? Because you're not an OC. You're a glorified you're a glorified paperweight, really.
Yeah, to walk the fucking dog here. You might be getting one of these big name OCs with fucking LaFleur or a Ben Johnson. Granted, it makes more sense for LaFleur because of what's happened this year. Is maybe this is a way to meld two schemes together.
So, and that's kind of like what Bill's like, what would you think if they hired Matt Nagy? I mean, like, first off, that tells you a lot about Matt Nagy. He can't get a head coaching gig. But I mean, yeah, I mean, kind of maybe what Ken just said, like, because if Matt Nagy were to get hired on by Ben Johnson, it wouldn't be to call plays or design plays. Maybe, like, the only argument I can think of, like, why you'd bring in like Kafka or Nagy into Chicago or Green Bay would be like, okay, so I know I have a robust playbook, but maybe I want another good mind I can bounce ideas off of. But once again, if you're Nagy or Kafka, you want to be able to run your own offense so you can get a head coaching gig down the line, not to be second fiddle on a scheme that is not yours. Like where you're
No,
just there to
no,
advise.
we are pure holograms here. We don't actually exist. See, I'm just phasing through myself right now.
Yeah, hey, WinDog69. Yeah, I'm just an AI video. Here, watch my hand go weird. Yeah, no, we're actually real, actually people.
I'll say one thing that I think
I'm
you know,
Ken, and that's Ken.
Ken.
I think it's possible.
That's Joe.
I think it's possible that Green Bay could look for an offensive coordinator for one reason. Even the best of schemes grows stale after a while. And I think we really saw this last year. Like LaFleur's scheme has gone stale. Like everybody's figured out that it's screen, 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 run the ball up the middle, screen, then maybe take a deep shot. Like, so bringing in a guy like Kafka to where you sit LaFleur down and you say, look, dude, like you're still the head coach, you're still going to call plays, but we want to freshen up this offense a bit. Like your play calling has become a bit predictable in our opinion. Like, or maybe not even your play calling, but just your plays. Your playbook needs some updating. So we want a fresh mind to look at it. Yeah, it needs a refresh. I could see that being possible. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because Joe, if you're Kafka or Nagy, would you want to do that, or would you want to be an OC? So, like, I could say, okay, look, let me go one step further. If you're Kafka or Nagy, you don't want to do that. You want to run your own offense. Like, but if you can't get a job elsewhere, you'll take it. But I mean,
there's yeah, I do, but I think that there is some incentive, like because people know at this point that LaFleur's playbook is kind of it's grown stale. So if you go in there and you refresh that offense, and now that offense comes out looking really good, it makes you look good.
Right, but that's right? But that feeds right into what I just said, though. That's like you have to prove it.
Right.
Like, that's like if you're Kafka or Nagy, you can't get a job right now as a standalone OC or head coach, and people are out there like, well, we just don't know if. Okay, so now you need a prove it gig. Where can I get a prove it gig? Well, I could go. Chicago is not good. A good example because Ben Johnson. He's look like I'm in a restaurant.
I was gonna say he's in his man. I can kind of get what he's saying, but he's in his man cave. But apparently, you got big props for thinking that how your display is something that a restaurant would put up. So good on you, man.
But no, like Ben Johnson's a bad argument because obviously the Bears' offense was really good this year, the best it's been since the '70s, right? All this other stuff. But like Nagy, okay, but I mean like LaFleur, better example. So like I'm at Nagy, I can't get a job. People are like, well, we don't know. I mean, come on, you were just under Reed for like all these years, and you had Mahomes. Like, show us you can do this with someone else on some level. Well, okay, I'll go link up with my boy LaFleur and be his OC for a year and freshen up the playbook as Joe suggests. However, here's the problem. Oh, well, wait. So you went from Reed to we had Reed and Mahomes. Now you went to LaFleur and Love. What did you really do? So for him, it's like a revolving door of the same excuse the next time he goes out. So I mean, if you're
for Matt Nagy, I don't think it makes sense.
But like, if you're Nagy or Kafka, you want to go to a head coach who you're not going to get that argument for. Like, you want to go to a guy who's maybe a good head coach but having some offensive struggles, like because he's a defensive-minded head coach and you can help him out. You don't want to go help out a guy who's being seen as a good offensive mind like Matt LaFleur or KOC because you're just like. You're feeding the same narrative you just left. Oh yeah, well come on, look at like you actually going to help KOC might work if you can turn some quarterback around up there. But when KOC is going to get all the credit for it, So, like, that's the thing. If you're Kafka or Nagy, who I think are probably two of the bigger named OCs out there right now, you don't want to go to like a place like Green Bay, honestly, because you want a place where you want to go to a place like Baltimore, where they've had all these offensive weapons but never seem to be able to do it. And you make Lamar, who yes has been the MVP twice, but you make that offense like world class. Like, oh my God, they're like top 5 offense in the league. All of a sudden.
Holy shit, Fred! I was starting to get worried. I thought you got kidnapped by aliens or something, man.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you're 30 minutes late, dude. This ain't like you. You're early.
No, but I mean, so Green Bay, like I said, if Green Bay is going to make a change at OC, it's going to be one of these guys who maybe just like, you can't get a job, but maybe you can freshen up the playbook and you can do a couple things, right? Because then you can go to Matt and say, look, Matt Nagy's out there. I'm just going to use Nagy as an example. You could say, hey, look, Matt Nagy's out there, didn't get an OC gig, didn't get a head coach gig. We have faith in you. We just extended you. However, why don't we bring Nagy in, who, by the way, when his first year in the division was coach of the year, whatever, but he's a good offensive mind. You guys don't think too terribly dissimilar. Maybe he can help you freshen up the playbook, and between the two of you, you can take it to another level. Like maybe he could be the catalyst and you sell it. Like I could see that happening. But at this point in the game, I don't even think Green Bay is looking. They're too busy trying to figure out who their DC is going to be.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we keep Stanovich at coordinator. If we're making a change on the offense, I think we're firing Buck as the offensive line coach. Because that offensive line has taken a drastic step down since Stanovich got promoted to OC, which is what I was afraid of, because Stanovich was there as the offensive line coach when we had these perennial top 5 offensive lines.
And yeah, but he's still the offensive line coach. He's like the offensive line coach / OC, right? Like his primary duty is to be the line coach, but he does. But by title, he's OC. The Bears have the same thing right now going on too with their OC. I don't even know who our OC is right now. But I mean, that's the other piece. So like you got to look at LaFleur and say, well, some of your problems was you had a lot of injuries this year, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think Green Bay, it's like that's not their issue. Their issue is not OC. Their issue is right now they need to find a DC, like a good one. Like you can't get just any DC. You have to get a good DC in there because that has potential of going south if you don't. And their defense is actually their strong point right now. Flores is interviewing Pittsburgh today. I mean, look, it would be a coup if Flores decides I'm not going to nuke my case with the NFL and I still want to be a DC. And Minnie's like, dude, we're done playing this game with you. Like, honestly, like we love you, but we can't be your refuge in the storm anymore. And Green Bay says, hey, we'll do it for a year. We don't care if it's only a year. I mean, that would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous.
Neither. We're talking about real football.
Hey, yeah, see, there's a Bayern Munich thing on the wall back there. But we're not talking about Bayern today. And
we got a troll.
I'm telling you. But I mean,
oh well.
I
don't mind trolls, dude.
Yeah, that doesn't the Packers coaching situation. It's DC, and I haven't heard too terribly much. It makes me go ooh about their DC situation right now. But I mean, I'm still bewildered by Buffalo. I still just can't get over Buffalo. Like,
I would definitely mind Raheem Morris coaching the Raiders.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator because
I think that's what he does.
That's what I think. I think this guy is a defensive coordinator because he has run defenses so good. He's got himself 2 different head coaching jobs now, with both of them being terrible. This man can build a defense.
And going back to Fred's comment about McCarthy, like, dude, last night Adam about lost his shit when someone said that. He's a big Steelers fan. And look, the only thing about McCarthy going to – first of all, I don't know if McCarthy's young enough to survive the tenure in the Steelers because Pittsburgh tends to keep
How
their
about them
coaches for
Raiders,
a
Dorn?
decade or so. But McCarthy, like if he goes to the Pittsburgh, that's about the only way I think Aaron Rodgers stays in Pittsburgh this year. Doesn't retire.
No, I think that's the guaranteed way to make Aaron Rodgers retire is to have
Maybe.
McCarthy go there. Him and McCarthy absolutely fucking hate each other.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point in his career, he knows McCarthy. He had success with McCarthy. I think he would rather do that than have some guy off the street, whoever they hire. I don't know.
I highly doubt. Well, maybe this is the way that Aaron Rodgers can transfer from
Yeah.
being a player into an offensive coordinator. Because as soon as Mike McCarthy runs in the building, Aaron Rodgers goes, "Well, I know this stunt from your last 5 to 6 years in Green Bay. Looks like I'm going to be offensive coordinator, boys."
Raheem Morris, though, I could see him as a coordinator with the Raiders. I think that would be.
Let him come to Green Bay.
I think like Green Bay is that's a good.
You got a
He's-
Michael
he-
Parsons and a McKinney.
Yeah, if you run a 4-3, if you're not a 4-3 and you're a 3-4 guy, stay away.
Yep. I don't even want to talk to you at that point.
I was what is Raheem Morris? Is he a 3-4 or a 4-3 guy?
I think he's a 4-3.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive with Fernando Mendoza, but I want to pair him with an offensive-minded coach who can develop him, and then go out and find a DC who knows what he's doing. Like I wouldn't be against keeping Patrick Graham. I think he's done a serviceable job considering what he's had to work with as a defensive roster for the last 3 or 4 years. But it seems like they're going to go in a different direction, so I'm fine with that.
Push
But
back on that, Joe. I don't think because in my mind, I don't care if they get a defensive-minded head coach. Even if you're drafting Mendoza, I don't care. Like if you get a good defensive-minded head coach, I'm fine with that as long as you get a good OC. Right? I mean, honestly, I would say you get a good defensive-minded head coach, a really good defensive-minded head coach, and you bring in a good OC. So like you do McDermott and Dable. I think that's good for the Raiders because you get a good. Your defense needs help too. Let's not forget about that. But if you bring in, you just need a good head coach. I don't think it matters offensive or defensive minded. What matters is if you like with Ben Johnson last year with the Bears. I was like, look if we want to get the bell of the ball, because I wasn't completely sold on it at the time last year. I was thinking I would maybe want a more established coach. But I'm like, if you bring in Ben Johnson, remember my quantifier last year was this: bring in a good defensive coordinator, and the Bears did that. Right. I think if you're the Raiders, you're like, look, I maybe I might prefer an offensive-minded head coach, knowing I'm going to draft a quarterback number 1. However, I'm not against a good defensive-minded head coach as long as he brings a really good OC with him. I think that can work for the Raiders too. So you could let's say bring in McDermott, Dable as a team, head coach, OC. It's proven track record. Look at Buffalo. I think you'd be good with that. Or what about, or you know what? I would even go so far as to say like McDermott, Nagy, that works too. McDermott, Kafka, that works too. I mean, I think there's there's pathways for a guy like McDermott, a defensive-minded head coach, to be in the Raiders, especially with a couple of these OCs that are still out there right now. Because like Kafka might not get a head coaching job, but it's a good way for him to get a head coaching job. Go to Vegas, be an OC with Mendoza, have Mendoza do really good while you're the OC. And then 2 years from now, you're going to be the belle of the ball.
yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think the large majority of Raider fans want an offensive-minded coach to pair with Mendoza. They look at our team and they see like we have more star players on offense than we do on defense. So you gotta start somewhere. Like you gotta start on one side of the ball and secure that first, right? And last year our offense was absolutely atrocious, whereas our defense was bad, but it wasn't like historically bad, right? They were on the field a lot. So I kind of feel like, and a lot of Raider fans feel like, let's fix the offense and like let's get somebody in there to develop Mendoza. And, the defense can be worked on, but the defense isn't what's losing you games right now. It's Geno Smith and our offensive line is losing us games. So, like, let's get that fixed. I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Real quick to Win Dog. I don't know what team I support.
Or kid, or the other kid. You got like the big old Packers thing right behind him. But if you're wondering about me, I'm a Raiders fan.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, McDermott, though, is the coach, though. That if you're the Raiders, though, you're going, ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean he's an established head coach. I certainly, but I'm just telling you, like, I'm just telling you what Raider fans are feeling.
Oh yeah.
Raider fans are feeling they're tired of retread coaches. They're tired of even successful ones. Like Pete Carroll was not a failure. He was a failure in Vegas, but he wasn't a failure as a coach, right?
He was also a failure in New England. The only place he had success was Seattle.
Yeah, but my point is he had a proven track record.
Joe Brady, Brian Daboll, Anthony Lynn, Grant Udinsky among Bills head coach interview requests. Clint Kubiak also on the radar for Buffalo.
Oh God, Fred. Hey. You don't have to worry about having to support soccer or anything like that. There's UFC fights Saturday. There's where your support should go.
Yeah. Speaking of which, are we doing the okay? But so for the Raiders,
and
for Raider
Cardinals
fans,
arranged an in-person meeting with Anthony Campanile, however you say his name, from the Jags. You know, they're one of their coordinators. That's another one that just broke. And wow, the Ravens. Good. I love this. Is the NFL, man. Here's the headline from about 20 minutes ago. Ravens blocking several Giants interview requests. I don't think we even need to read the rest of that. This broke also as we went live. Giants contacted Mike Tomlin during the head coach search.
And he told him, "Nah, I'm good. My couch feels real comfy right now." And Sean McDermott to Baltimore.
Makes sense.
I wouldn't be against it with their track record, but I kind of almost feel like Lamar Jackson has spoke up enough that you're going to get an offensive-minded head coach for Baltimore.
I mean, once again, though, like I'm not against that. If you bring him a decent OC with them, I'm not against that. Like that's the thing. Like, look, you get these head coaches like McDermott, who we know is a good head coach, and then you get to a point where I don't really. The fact that they were a defensive coach or an offensive coach kind of gets lost in that a little bit, right? They're just a good head coach. That dude is just a good head coach. So him in Baltimore, that's actually
I have a horrible thought for any Buffalo fan.
What?
Imagine McDermott and the ball go over there to Baltimore and they take Lamar Jackson and win a Super Bowl with him. Now, does that show that the Bills are an inept organization, or that
Josh? They already know they're inept because
hold on, or that Josh Allen can't win the big one, or is this one of those that this is the glaring thing of both? If both the offensive coordinator and head coach go to Baltimore, take another guy who can't win the big one and bring him across that line.
You know what, though? Like with Josh Allen, I don't want to put Josh Allen in the can't win the big one camp because honestly, more times than not, it hasn't been his fault. Like this was the first time where like he's like, dude, this was legit on me.
I was gonna say
all
Aaron
the other
Rodgers.
times, Josh Allen was being a kind teammate, but all the other losses that the heartbreaking losses they've had in playoff games have not been because of Josh Allen. They've been in spite of Josh Allen playing out his freaking mind.
Yeah, well, people talk about Aaron Rodgers as the guy that couldn't win a big one the second time, and it for the exact same reasons.
That's because Aaron Rodgers sucks.
Oh yeah, But
I mean, no, I mean, yeah, dude, yeah, I mean that would be if you kind of if Daboll doesn't get a head coaching gig, which I don't think he should. I think he should hitch his wagon to I think him and McDermott, and if they haven't already talked on the phone, I bet they have. It's like, dude, let's hitch our wagons together again and go as a team. Like when you go interview and look at, unless there was bad blood there, which I don't think there was when he left, like it makes sense for Dable to go to McDermott and say, "Hey, let's hitch our wagons." If they're amenable, if he's amenable to it, and then like McDermott says, "Hey, look, here's my plan. I'm bringing Dable with me as my OC, and I got I can get this defense unlocked. So let's go Baltimore, or let's go Vegas. I mean, ooh, interesting." And then, yeah, if Baltimore goes ahead and wins another ring with that combination, that just basically goes, "Hey, Buffalo."
See, I think Baltimore makes some sense for Sean McDermott for a few reasons. One, their defense was really a big part of their problem last year. They have an aging defense, but I think that they still have they still have talent on that defense. But Harbaugh's not a defensive coach. Like, he's a special teams guy, right? So if they could get a guy like Sean McDermott, their defense would get better. But there's also rumors that the Ravens are shopping Lamar Jackson, which I don't think is a terrible idea.
I don't know how much I believe that.
I personally think that's a terrible idea.
Are we already at the fan in the basement rumor mill time?
No, actually, I've seen this on more than one thing. He's actually been mocked to the Raiders for the #1 overall pick, which I'm not a fan of. But I mean, there seems to be some legitimate smoke to the rumor.
But is this one of those deals, though, Joe, where some guy in the basement came up with and a couple guys? Ooh, let's run with that. I'll get some clicks. Or is there like what's the basis?
Hey, well, thank you.
Thank you, man. Is this just like one of those things where it's like, obviously it's clickbaity, but like, what are the actual legs of this thing? Was it some guy in the basement came up with it? A bunch of podcasters and beat writers said, "Ooh, this would be this is gonna give me some clicks right now for an article." They traded the #1 pick to get Lamar. Let's roll with that. That's gonna give me some clicks. Or is there actual real legs under it?
It's not just that, but we have been hearing for even the last couple of weeks of the season that there was disconnect between Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh. And I had even heard if Harbaugh was brought back as head coach, that Lamar Jackson was going to demand a trade. This could be one of those they want to get the guy out of the building. Now, I don't agree with that because I think Lamar Jackson's a phenomenal quarterback.
Well, he should go to Miami and go to the rape cave, man.
I am all for that. You put him with Jeff Hafley. Oh, God.
Justin Tucker with him.
But see, here's what I was saying with McDermott, right? Why McDermott makes sense to Baltimore is like he fixes the defense for you. If you are, in fact, actually shopping Lamar Jackson, you're going to get an absolute haul that you can use to turn around and fix the holes on that roster. And then you could go out and you could get a guy like Malik Willis who could come in and run that offense. And is it going to be Lamar Jackson? No, but it doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson if you fix some of the other issues on that roster.
Or Huntley. Huntley could run it. But
well, Huntley, I think you keep as your serviceable backup, as more than a serviceable backup. But I think there's nothing wrong with giving a guy like Malik Willis a chance, because at the very least you still have Huntley in reserve. Like if Willis doesn't work out, you throw Huntley in there and you're going to do almost as good as you do with Jackson anyway.
Fred. Man, you know what you're doing to us, man. Now we're gonna get JB in here giving me every stat line on Lamar and everything from all of history and why. No, don't do this. And look I would say Motown Mitch, we hope you're feeling better, man.
Yeah.
But
shout out Motown.
Jeez, I mean, Lamar, first off, I guess that you'd be doing Lamar for Goff with draft picks.
Yeah, a lot of draft picks.
Oh no! Because I'm going to be Motown. No, because Goff is a top 3 quarterback. He would be the other way around. You'd have to give us draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that trade makes. Look, I can see how that trade somehow makes the Lions better.
That trade doesn't make sense even in Madden on rookie mode.
No, dude,
Well, no, I mean, I think Tua. I think Tua.
but you're gonna
I
say
think-
Lions fans wouldn't ask for it? They'd be like, no, if you're, we'll give you Goff for Jackson, but we want your next 2 firsts as well.
I mean, look at. I think Lamar Jackson would improve Detroit in different ways, right? But then in other ways, they would regress maybe. So I don't
Hey,
know.
why? Thank you.
I got a
don't
scenario
know.
for you that's crazy, and I'm sure it like 99.999% won't happen. But what about a straight up trade, straight up swap? If McDermott goes to Baltimore, you do Lamar Jackson for Josh Allen straight across.
No, that doesn't work. Just for the fact of how
Hold on
much.
a second. I'm getting a phone call from Buffalo. They say, Joe, they have a message for you.
Yeah, there is no way with how much Josh Allen means to Buffalo. Yes, Lamar Jackson is an immensely talented quarterback, and I think just about every other team would take him. I don't think Buffalo
Guys,
isn't on that.
Right,
We're
and-
almost in full blown clickbait season because I'm already, the Bears not much on. The Bears did do something yesterday, signed 12 guys, the future reserves, which was like, okay, cool. Everyone from the practice squad got re-signed except for one guy. They brought some other guy in. But now we're going to start getting the clickbait, and we're going to start hearing Max Crosby deals. We're going to start hearing, now we got to listen to Max Crosby deals that are never going to happen.
We've
Lamar
already been hearing that for the
Deals
last
that are
like
never
6
going to
months.
happen.
I was gonna say, so have we reached the time in the season where our tagline for the show comes back? Clickbait!
Close.
No, but let me just walk this dog a little bit, because if I'm Josh Allen, right, after what Buffalo just did, I might actually want to trade. Like you just promoted the shittiest GM we've ever had to president of football operations. You fired the head coach that had us in the playoffs every year. For year after year now, you've refused to address the real elephant in the room, which is the wide receiver core. If I'm Josh Allen and I have a chance to go somewhere like Baltimore where they're, I don't know, like I'm not, because I was saying it. I was saying it as soon as that Denver game was over. I was saying, like, if I was Josh Allen, I might consider.
Well, but if it was like the three of us and Josh Allen, not on a web show, on a podcast, sitting in a basement playing cards, Josh Allen might say all that.
I mean, he ain't saying that shit publicly.
Yeah, and Windog. So for this particular show, this was our second season. But most of us here have been doing this for a couple, 5, 6, 7 years. But for Ken and Ken in the morning, this was our second NFL season doing the show. So we're almost completely done with year 2. We started this show just before the draft 2 years ago. So we're almost to year 2. So that's how I'm gonna be doing it. But yeah, like Joe, like I don't disagree with you. But dude, that's like Josh Allen is, come on, you've all seen the TV commercial. He's the Messiah. I mean, they're blessing babies with his name. I mean, he'll never say anything like that publicly in Buffalo. But if we're downstairs playing a poker game and this will never be, it's like one of those things, anything said here will never leave this room. Yeah, I'm sure he'd probably say a lot of what you just said. Like,
That's
what the fuck is my team doing? I need to leave.
That's until there's the guy sitting there at the table with his phone turned on, record in his pocket, and is just picking up that whole conversation.
I mean, like in the whole Max Crosby thing, like the last couple of years, I get it. And like, okay, if there was any time that this would make sense, would this be the time? Kind of, maybe. I mean, look at you're only maybe look at you can do a turnaround in 2 years if you're the Raiders. So if you're the Raiders, you got to ask yourself this. Is Max Crosby going to be a big piece of my team 3 years from now? If the answer is yes, then you're probably not moving him at all. If he's still going to be effective for you, where you don't have to replace him in 3 years, right, in order to affect this full turnaround, because like next year is going to be like, well, it's going to be a Mendoza learning year. But the year after that, you're a playoff team maybe. Look at the Bears as an example. Look at Detroit as an example. Even though they did a little bit differently. But the Bears are kind of a good example. I mean, look, it's been 2 years. You drafted Caleb, year 1. Not great. Year 2, Whoa, well, hold the phone here. So Max Crosby, it's not like it's a complete rebuild there because you've got Max, they just got a good young running back, they've got a gold jacket tight end, according to Joe. You need receivers, you need offensive line. Defensively, you've got Chin, he's good. You've got some pieces on the defense at all three levels, right? You need another linebacker. You need some more DB help. You need some more D line help because if you had some guys that had promise, but injuries just have kind of
All right, now
not been on your side. And you've got $100 million to go along with the number 1 draft pick this year, dude. You could rebuild your D line. Let's say offensive line is not in the cards this year like it was for the Bears last year. Maybe D line is what you can spend the money on this year and fix the D line with Max. And then you can draft some guys and make the O line more serviceable and get you a wide receiver. Next thing you know, next year you're a 5-6 win team, still drafting maybe in the top 10. And the year after that, you're a playoff team. So Max might not get traded.
well, I hope, beg, and pray that that's what happens because right now I think somebody needs to break Fred's thumbs before he puts that fucking evil juju out in the NFL world where we have to deal with Max Crosby and fucking Garrett on the same defensive line. Absolutely not.
That would never happen just because. Well, that would never happen because Cleveland has way too many other issues to deal with. That's all.
Well,
You know
what do you got to worry? What do you got to worry about when
do.
you got those guys sacking 5 to 10 times a game?
But you know what that is? That's what you do when let's say you're the current Chicago Bears, and let's say you have Montez Sweat, who actually very quietly had a good year, and then you that's a luxury. Like, okay, I'm confident with everything else. I got money to burn. Make the deal. That's what that is. Or that's like when you're Green Bay and you're going, my offense is completely fixed and I have money to burn and I don't care about my draft picks. Let me go get Max. I mean, that's what that is. Matt doing something like that, pairing Max up with like another great defensive end like that that's already established. That's called a luxury trade.
Yes, I know. I know what you're saying.
I don't have anything else I need to fix.
I know exactly like what you're saying there, Ken. But please don't put that idea in my head. So where I'm going to be thinking of a Micah Parsons and a Max Crosby on the same team. Don't do that to me because we know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see, Bill. I don't think it's going to happen, but anything can happen. But I don't think Max is going anywhere.
I think the Bears are going to make moves defensively, but it's not going to be like because Max Crosby rumors started like the game
3 years ago.
The game ended, and 30 seconds later, there were Bears are making a trade offer for Max Crosby. Honestly, I think the Bears are going to make moves defensively, but it's not going to be Max Crosby. It's going to be defensive interior linebacker and some secondary work on the defense. They're not, I think Booker's shown the Bears enough where like the guy keeps growing, like he's the other edge next year with Sweat. And they don't want us, and really the money kind of would get in the way too for a Max Crosby deal at Chicago. I mean, they could do it. I'm not saying they couldn't. They'd have to move a lot of stuff around, maybe cut a guy or two, or do a lot of pushing money down the road with doing restructures. And I'm not going to rule it out completely because it could be done. But I don't think that's what they're doing. I think Max Crosby is still an integral piece to the Raiders. Like, it only takes 2 years. So you got $100 million in Mendoza coming, plus what other things you draft this year.
What I want to know.
I don't think that they're moving Max Crosby, man.
I don't either, but we'll see. But what I want to know is DJ Moore going to still be in Chicago when the season starts? Because after he jogged on that route.
I don't think so, because supposedly from what I saw, and Ken can correct me on this, I saw a report that Caleb Williams has not had any contact with DJ Moore since that went on.
I haven't really
pretty
heard
much
that, but then again, Caleb has been going to Blackhawks games and he's going to some other event. He was at some other game last night. I look at DJ Moore does a lot for the Bears. He was the death knell for the Packers in both those wins. I mean, when Caleb comes out the press conference and says, look, it was a miscommunication. I wanted him to go flat. He went up top like the route was originally designed to run. I don't know. That's a topic we can run for the next day because Ken's right. We're out of time. Guys, JB is next. Don't forget we got the Ken and Joey back here in a couple hours with the UFC show. I'll be back tonight for Hallis Hall, and then we got the round table. We're out of time. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks a lot.